Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, I'm Emma and I'm the artist behind Unsteady Art. So today's a few bits and jobs here and there. So if you saw last week, I managed to do the teddy design as well as, yes, I was printing out the bookmarks and the magnetic bookmarks for the shop. So this place at the moment is an absolute mess, and that's because the place that I'm doing my shelf, which is in Bridlington, it's the Craft Emporium. It is a charity fund and they just pay us for what the cost is, and then they take their commission offers, which is absolutely fine. I love the fact that I'm doing it for a good cause as well. So when it comes to it, they wanted their streamlining how they do it. So there's a few things that they wanted to put on it just so it's quicker for them to process sales. So one is to put my shelf code on, to put a product description so they know what to write. Well, I've been doing the product codes for a while. They just didn't know, I think, what to do with it. I'm trying to find one that's got it now. There we go. So the product codes I've put like that. So I know that number represents something that I've done, and it just means that instead of putting sleeping cat, which it is his name, but like everything else, they don't know how to represent that. So code was nice and easy, and there's nothing to suggest any otherwise. So all of these will need that particular thing on that describes. So I'm going to make something on the Cricut today that we can hand write on, because unfortunately I can't do it for every individual product because I'd be forever doing it. So if I make it nice and easy, hopefully then, touch wood, it'll go a little bit seamless. But like everything, all of my products are different sizes. Yes, so when it comes to these ones, I could quite easily fit it on the back there, so I know the dimensions for that. But when it comes to, for example, my magnetic bookmarks, I have already got stuff on the back of it, but I think I'm going to have to cover over something of that. So the choking hazard bit I have now got written at the front of the new one. That will give me all of that space free. Obviously when it comes to that, it is there, my information. So I thought if I could do something that is nice and easy, that's got my branding on it as well as the information that they need, it might look a little bit more uniform, a little bit in brand. Again everyone, sorry for the brief moment there. Just got a phone call with another possible commission, so fingers crossed on that one. So as I was saying, so I'm wanting to do something that's kind of there where I can put the information in, print it out, get it going. When it comes to the embroidery machine, I need to set it up for some of the other patches that I'm kind of missing, because I want to fill them all up. So they kind of look like that. Obviously now I don't need to put most of those on, but I can put like a sticker on that just said the information that I need. And I'll definitely need to print out more of those as well. I did print out a job lot for those two. Probably would need, I've got a few. Just haven't got any room to actually put any more in. So yeah, just let's get on with it. Hey everyone. So I did manage to catch up from the previous day, just because I didn't actually get to bed till about 11 o'clock that night, and that is quite a bit late for me. Did have a nice sleeping though this morning. So what I ended up getting done last time is penguins and unicorns. So they both got done. To be honest, few little niggly bits, but being honest with you, I'm changing them as I go because they're not drastic. So for example, the eye's a bit thicker, thinner on this one than the other one, and I just want it to be brought out just slightly more and slightly bigger this time round, and just little bits when it comes to the penguins as well. So there's not really much to change. But the big thing that I'm wanting to do is the back. So because they are B film, you can see literally straight through them. Originally I liked the idea that they're black, but when I did the dove, it was just as much that way as what it is that way. I kind of want to get that back. So I am now putting an applique into when I change from a lighter colour to a darker colour, and then I'm going to swap it through white to black on there. Whether or not it makes a lot of difference, I don't know, but I am going to try and see how it goes. So that's that. So dolphin is definitely next. I think then owl and a few others. I also want to digitise the dogs if I can get them done. I also want to print out some more of the button badges so they can go to the second shell system. So yeah, as usual, lots of things to do. I've got 2 days to do some bits this time around, so it's not too bad. So yeah, let's get on. Hey everyone. So for the first time ever, I'm having to do this video in 2 parts. And to be honest, it's turned out really well. One, the video is way too long as it is, and I've got just as much content on the other side of it. Second, as you saw earlier, before I edited this video, I'd got a commission through. Well, I didn't just get one. I ended up with quite a few on the ball. So some of those I cannot show yet. It is a launch one, so I'd have to wait until they've launched it before I can show that video. So because that is going to take a lot of my time up, that means splitting this video means that I get to have that time and the video is still ongoing. I definitely will show you it just after launch. And other than that, yeah, if you liked part 1 of this video, if you could like, subscribe, comment, I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear your pros, your cons, what happened. It's definitely not been as disastrous as last week, but yeah, things are turning around and I'm enjoying it. So please, I want to hear everything. Right, thank you very much for watching. Bye.